So there is a stupid thing going around. It's on X, of course. So this Kate Kelly imbecile said grape did not exist among native nations prior to white contact. I repeat, grape did not exist among native nations prior to white contact. Now, you know what's crazy about this kind of statements? Everyone knows this is false, even if you have never opened a book of history in your entire life. In fact, I'd argue that you don't even need historical knowledge to tackle this one. You know how oftentimes we want to tackle nonsense, we want to debunk it, and of course we bring in the sources, and I consult with my team because maybe sometimes they're like, hey, we need a stronger one because this statement does not hold water even in the realm of logics. Now, of course, this is connected to another problem that oftentimes a nonsensical take that, believe it or not, is spreading in academia, which is the concept of noble savage. Noble savage meaning, someone will review it together very quickly, but the concept of the noble savage is this idea that before European colonial powers, these savages that were living in these areas, they were basically living in freaking paradise. No one did anything. They were nice, but then they were noble, they were good, they believed in honor and all that stuff. But then the awful Europeans arrive and they ruin everything, and that's why everything went to shit. Basically, that's the idea. And it's a ridiculous take. What's funny about it is the following image that I want to share with you before we get back to that. We've got, I guess, the noble savage society, and we've got the Aztec performing human sacrifices. He's just removed the heart, Kano style. He just removed the heart from this person offering it, whatever the heck, and then the Europeans arrive. Oh, look, here comes the far right. Oh my gosh, every time I see it, it freaking kills me. Every time I see this, it's hilarious. And of course, you've got the medieval armored guy who's like shocked, and then the monk with the cross, and the Morion guy. I guess this is one of the... It's hilarious. It's hilarious. I love it. It is important to underline. This is, of course, I mean, all of this is nonsense. We know all of this is nonsense because it is unfortunate. I wish it wasn't the case. But grape, SA, violence is part of the human nature, regardless of political systems, regardless of religious presence, and regardless of states of civilization. It doesn't matter. And by the way, I use the word civilization on purpose because apparently now it annoys archaeologists such as Flint Dibble. They say, stop using that word. We can't come to a conclusion to what it actually means. So I'm not going to stop using it because civilization, I played 7 of them, and I'm going to use it. I don't even care. It's part of human condition. Now, given, of course, when you have a highly well-established system and you have a powerful kingdom, empire, whatever it is, then of course the numbers can go up because you have more power, you have conquest, and so you can basically your technological level, your advancement, your military can allow you to enforce your will onto people that are not as advanced as you, which creates what is normally referred to as asymmetrical warfare, which was the case here anyways. Not to mention the biological state, meaning the freaking biological warfare of all the diseases the Europeans did bring that their bodies weren't accustomed to, so that also kind of did what it did. But this kind of attitude is false. It's a lie. 100% grape happened in everywhere on the planet before contact with Europeans. It is ridiculous that anyone would say this. And before you say, yeah, but it's probably a stupid Redditor. No, I've heard professors say this stuff. There is everything, everyone, it's Columbia University, the colonial roots of violence against Native American. They will say nonsense because of the oppressor dichotomy. And the reality is that grape happened in Africa before Europeans even entered the picture. Grape happened in native, and by the way, there are mentions, I checked this, there are mentions of this SA and grape in the Aztec and other Native Americans. Of course there is. You don't even need the mention. It's one of those things where you don't need the sources. Where there's some colonial powers where they're like, maybe there would have been some Europeans that took advantage of their technological superiority a military superiority. That's a fact. Before anyone accuses me of, oh, are you saying you're a white supremacist? No, I'm stating the evidence. You can't complain about European powers and what we've done, but at the same time, we are all the same in technologically. No, we're not. We were the most powerful. That's why we went around and took whatever the heck we wanted. And so that's a fact. We arrived at, and there would have been awful people that took advantage of that. And yeah, my heart goes to the people that were exposed to that violence and they were innocent. But that transcends race, ethnicity, tribalism. It doesn't matter. If it's an innocent person and someone was raping them, then I will side with the innocent person. But the idea that you have to make it so it's only white, well, then I will side against you because it's absolutely ridiculous. Now, this is AI review. Look at what it says. The claim that grape did not exist among native populations prior to white contact is a complex subject. No, it's not. It's a lie. It's not a complex subject. It's a lie. And then it says, with some scholars arguing it was uncommon in certain indigenous communities before European colonialism. I know. And these are activists. These are activists that are trying to push a message. Look. It was uncommon in certain indigenous communities before European colonialism introduced patriarchal structures, according to this Wikipedia article. So we're going to check the Wikipedia article, but there is one thing I want to say. Europeans absolutely introduced Christianity in the New World, that's a fact. Europeans introduced our own structures of commerce and organization 100%, and we subdued the native populations. Native being a topic that we should discuss, though, because it's kind of strange now that Americans have been living, well, Americans of European descent who have been living in America for 4 freaking centuries, they're still not considered natives. Whereas when someone from Bangladesh enters the country and stays for a month, they're like, well, he's just as American as everyone else. So native is also something we should discuss, because I'm really starting to believe that this word is starting to lose any meaning whatsoever. But here we are. But if there is one thing we did not introduce, is patriarchal structures. Patriarchal structures are everywhere. Unless you believe in the Amazons, which it's a myth. Amazons did not exist. It's a myth that the ancient Greeks were like talking about, probably heard it from someone else, and they were like, oh, this would be good. Now, could there be some historical basis to it that then was exaggerated? Yes, and personally, I think maybe some populations of the steppes, Iranian, steppes of Eurasia, for instance, or just to say one, Sarmatians. We do have mentions that they had women that also learned how to fight, in particularly when it's like nomadic or semi-nomadic population, so everyone knows how to ride a horse. There are scenarios in which we are told that there was societies in which women fought too, and in fact sometimes if you hadn't fought, you couldn't get married. Like, you had to go and show that you knew how to use a spear, you knew how to wear scale. That does happen, and it's possible that the Greeks heard about that, and that's what they used as a basis for the mythological idea of the Amazons. Ah, what a clown world. So let's have a look at this Wikipedia. Colonial violence. Let's have a look very quickly so then we can shut this down and admit that this is all nonsense. Colonial SV, North America. And it does say here, this article has multiple issues. Yeah, this article is an issue, and not in the editorial sense. Excuse the pun. Help to improve it. Man, I would have to rewrite the whole thing. And of course, it's got, look, patriarchal system, role of masculinity. Watch them say the European colonialists did what they did because of toxic masculinity. Watch them say it. Colonial SV in North America refers to the history of sexual V during the period of settler colonialism in Canada and the United States. Right. Okay, so blah, blah, blah. Spanish and British empires. Okay. Look. In North America specifically, there is a history of settler colonialism related to the Spanish and British empires, which had a different cultural relationship with the notion of sexuality from the people native to these territories, which has nothing whatsoever to do with violence. Their different customs and colonial relationship to the land led to the construction of systems and institutions that reinforced gender divides. Gender divides, oh my gosh! Gender roles have always existed. They differ from culture to culture, I'll give him that, that's true. But Europeans didn't introduce gender roles. Gender roles developed naturally because of the biological differences between men and women. So you can have, particularly if it's a scenario where your survival depends on it, you can have situations whereby, A, men do the fight, men hunt, women stay home, cook, mind the children, and work, for example, with spinning, right? Making clothes. That's the normal division of labor that has happened in the majority of cultures throughout the world. Now, can there be a situation where women have to fight too? Because, I mean, we're being invaded and the men are dying and we need to do something about it. So go pick up an axe and go fight. Absolutely. And the Roman mentioned it in Celtic and Germanic realities. But that's a special occasion. So had they won, spoiler alert, they got butchered. But had they won, do you think that that would mean that now, from now on, it's not gender divided and the women will fight as much as the men? No. It was a case of emergency. And that's one situation. But could you have situations in which, the men are not hunting enough, so the women have to start hunting too? Absolutely. 100% that happened in the Mesolithic period, all the way up to the Neolithic. Absolutely, that would have happened. But think about it this way, though. What do you think makes more logical sense? That a Mesolithic culture, tribe, and they are like, we need more game. Do you think it makes more sense that still they say, all right, so how about we do this? The women, and the older women and younger women, they can go to this area because we know that there are like rabbits, there's deer, so you hunt those. The men, we take our spears, we take our bows, and we try and tackle the wild boars. We try and take out a mammoth. We try and take out whatever it is that is more dangerous. You think it makes more sense they would still, even in a case whereby this specific reality created for more hunters among women that then knew how to operate bows and do stuff like that, but they still divided it on the basic norms of gender roles that are based on the different strength, right, and aggressive nature of men and women? Or do you think they'd be like, no, we want to respect women, we are for equality here in the Mesolithic, so you go fight the mammoth. I'm going to go get rabbits because, women empowerment. Come on. It's ridiculous. So gender roles are a natural evolution of culture that mimics the biological differences in mass, strength, muscle to fat proportion between men and women on averages. It comes from that. It stems from that. And then culture, so local ethnic component of the religion, for instance, or the way things function in that specific society, will change these a little bit, but up to a certain extent. And so this is another nonsensical take that we see here. The English people who came to North America promoted proper sex, meaning the purpose of sex was reproduction. Protestant churches promoted the sexual relationship outside of marriage was sinful. This led to one motive for marriage, to express sexual lust, to be compliant with church policy. What does this even mean? Patriarchal systems are designed to keep an unequal power imbalance in society. You know who wrote this, right? Like, you could tell this has been written by a modern feminist. Patriarchal systems are designed to keep an unequal power imbalance in society. No, honey, that unequal power imbalance in society is part of the human condition. It's how things are. It's just how it is. We could try to strive for a more equal society. I'm all for it. But you can't do that. How are you going to destroy the patriarchal system to replace it with what? Everyone is equal? Well, good luck lifting that. Good luck doing all the hard jobs that men do. Yeah, I want to see all of that. Not to mention, I'd like to underline, a lot of women love the idea of being a stay-at-home wife while the husband provides. A lot of women like that. So are you going to force them? If you were to destroy the patriarchy, and so now all women got to work, and then they need to do all sorts of jobs. And then if you are a woman and you're like, oh, you know what? I really like the idea of staying home. Does she have to now? Because that's patriarchal in nature. I wonder if freedom is part of this system, because there's going to be a problem. I personally love being the provider here. I would do 3 jobs to make sure my wife doesn't have to work. I will do it. Absolutely. That's one of the perks she gets for having said yes to me. Okay? Emotions were weaponized beginning in the 1960s to create internalized colonialism and control indigenous populations through inward control and shame. No, shame is what you are doing when you tell that boys are innately bad if they do things that are typical of the male section of the population. And when you tell me that everything white people do is bad, when non-white people do it, it's fine for some reasons. Conforming to whiteness, I can't, I just can't do it, guys. I can't do it. And before you tell me, I already know it. There will be people in the comments that will tell me, but why are you reading Wikipedia? Mate, this is a mirror image of university. You don't believe me? Okay, I'll prove it. Give me a second. Destroying whiteness. University. Let's see which university comes up first. How about that? National Institute of Health. Whiteness is an immoral choice. University. Which university is it? I don't even want to know. Decentering whiteness. University of North Carolina at Charlotte. Bonjour, comment ça va? Très bien, merci. Je suis blanche. Peter Lang towards abolishing white supremacies on campus, yet they have nothing to say when it's the other way around. Never. Academic leaders seek and destroy locating whiteness in higher education. The University of Edinburgh disrupting hegemonic whiteness in the higher education. The whiteness of the teaching staff reinforces the whiteness of the curricula. The next time someone dares to tell me this is not happening, it's automatic block. Because we are sick of the gaslighting. If you believe in this anti-white lies that, and you think they should be pushed in academia, be a man and own it. Say it. Rather than, it's not happening, it's not true. No, never happening. No, not a thing. Absolutely not.